Hello, everybody. How are you all today evening? Good evening. Today I shall talk to you about how one who exists in the goodness mode tries to improve himself or herself and enters gradually into the divine mode of spiritual nature and ultimately, after several births in the divine mode of spiritual nature, realizes himself or herself, gets liberated and delivered, and ultimately realizes his or her true self as Brahman and goes back to the Supreme Soul, the eternal flame from which he had initially got himself or herself ejected out as a spark. Very lengthy sentence, isn't it? No problem. We have already seen that the 10% of the society has come out into the goodness mode after several filterings and distilling of their initial ignorance, passion plus ignorance, and passionate nature. Once a living entity which has all the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, are present, this living entity, after several births in ignorance and passion modes, ultimately realizes the futility of such births and graduates into the goodness mode. That is the reason that people in the goodness mode are in a minimum percentage of just 10%. They are rare and they are not usual in this society. These people in the goodness mode are very pleasant to be with within this society. But being from the goodness mode, these people want to improve further and go into the spiritual realm of life. When they try this, they, after several trials, errors, waiting, patience, tribulations, etc., reach the point of renunciance. After remaining in the renunciant situation, they all become monks. Monks are those who are very happy meditating through their third eye in the universe within themselves. They come out with various ideas and thoughts through vibrations from the soul and the super soul. From the monk stage, these divine people get branched out twofolds. One road takes them into saints, sages, rishis, maharishis, etc. The other branch takes them into the root of Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, angels, demigods, godmen, etc. There are several stages, and that is the reason why God told that if a person takes 7 births in the divine form, he or she will ultimately get liberated and can join the super soul. Please remember that everyone in every stage of the divine birth is a servant of God. He or she is taking up and executing assignments given by the super soul to such a living entity. It is another matter that though the births are 7, that means that in these 7 births, the living entity takes several births in several stages to come out from a particular stage after the saturation point and reaches the other stage. 7 are the divine births, and there are 7 chakras in the kundalini of a living entity. These 7 are as follows: Mooladhara, representing the earth element; Swadhisthana, representing the water element; Manipuraka, representing the fire element; Anahata, representing the air element; Vishuddhi, representing the other element; Ajna, representing the soul; and Sahasrara, representing the super soul. In every stage, a living entity has to take several divine births till the living entity reaches the saturation point in a particular stage and progresses further. It is another matter that a living entity who has taken a divine birth in any chakra finds himself or herself quite happy, contented, and comfortable in that particular birth. Nature and God has made things possible for a living entity to make that particular living entity settle down in any divine birth. All divine births are luxurious, comfortable, and blissful, and hence any living entity in whatever chakra he or she is finds that particular birth quite blissful. After crossing the 7 stages, the person realizes his or herself, realizes cosmic Vasudeva, finds out that all is Vasudeva, he knows about cosmic oneness, knows that he is none other than Brahman, and ultimately he or she goes back to Godhead forever. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this subject of divine births. If you feel that it is good or it has some meaning, kindly subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that I can keep reminding you of my other videos. Please remember that as living entities, we should try to reach the goodness mode, and from goodness mode we should progress to the spiritual divine mode so that we can make our life a success. Kindly pardon me for my appearances, errors in spelling, diction, grammar, etc. Because when I am talking to you about spiritual and material matters, I tend to ignore these frivolous things. Till we meet in my next video, it is good evening from TSV Raghavan.